What's going on, guys? So if you are new to my channel, you probably realize that I don't post a tremendous amount of traveling vlog type content. Basically where we're out and about and we're traveling and we're sightseeing and doing things like that. Now I do include that if I'm at a media event, such as a manufacturer's drive event or a trip to review RVs in another state, things like that. But as far as us traveling and actually showing what we're doing while we're out and about in these different areas, I don't post much of that. And I've made this point a lot in the past, but I haven't really, talked about it recently. So I just wanted to take a moment and let people know, especially those who are new to the channel, why I don't. So doing YouTube is a full-time job. There's no way to slice it. Unless you are only posting maybe one video a month and you're doing it purely as a hobby. But for the sake of my channel, I post videos almost every day, pretty much every day. And the process of filming videos, editing videos, and getting it posted takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time away from my family, and it definitely takes a lot of time away from time that I could be spending with them doing things recreationally or, just family time in general. And unless you create content on YouTube regularly, you probably don't have a very clear picture of what it's like to create content on YouTube, especially as you're constantly trying to improve your content. You're trying to put quality content out, and you want to take the right amount of time to edit your content before it gets published. And then, of course, managing, scheduling, and everything associated with all the different things that you film on. So it's a full-time job on top of a full-time job. And the point I want to make here is that there are many nights, a lot of nights that I'm up till 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning editing videos. Sometimes I can do it while I'm sitting in bed next to my wife. Sometimes I go to another room to do it. Sometimes I do it while I'm traveling. And there are even times when you're on an airplane, and the minute you take off, you're editing, and the minute you touch down, you stop editing. And these scenarios, if you're not careful, can cause problems. They can cause problems with your family, with the amount of time you dedicate with your family. So one of the things that I pointed out a long time ago in a video was that my time with my family I consider to be very sacred, and I consider it to be incredibly important. So whenever we're camping, I don't film a lot of that. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of traveling vlogs of families that just go out and about, explore this beautiful country, explore other countries, and give you kind of a guide to what RVing is all about out on the road. I don't do that because that's not necessarily the focus of my content. The focus of my content is to bring you reviews, to bring you information, to try to bring some level of knowledge to certain aspects of what RVing may be about. But more importantly, it's to simply provide people a place to look and a place to go to learn a little bit more about things to be cautious of and what's available that can make your towing experience better or make it a little bit safer. My goal isn't, again, to have a channel that is a traveling vlog. There are a lot of them out there and a lot of really great ones. And, that's where they focus their effort. My channel, again, is a bit unique in that sense. But I just wanted to share this with you all because, again, I know a lot of people may not have seen some of the videos I've made on this topic in the past, but it's important for me to let you guys know that I do very, very little in terms of traveling vlogs, only because I do consider that time to be family time, and it's incredibly important to me that I respect that, and I put the camera down, I put the computer away, and I spend time with my family. I don't want them to view me as this person who is so committed to YouTube and YouTube content that I forget about them. So I hope that answers the question for those people who are constantly wondering why I don't show camping trips and why I don't show when we go out as a family. I'll do it occasionally. I'll do it especially if it's just me, that maybe I got there early and I'm setting up, or I'm trying to film a certain aspect or a feature around where I'm at. But the reality is, any place that we've been, there's probably 10,000 videos of that same place from people who actually dedicate their YouTube channel to showing you those places. And that's just not really what my channel's about. Anyways, guys, I just wanted to share that with you guys before we started the main part of this video. So this is another little project that I completed. So you guys might remember the control panels right here and the tons and tons and tons of wiring that go to all these switches. Basically, each one of these switches has 6 wires to it. So between just these switches, you're talking about 24 wires. That's a ton of wires behind a panel. So just right here, there's 24. Up here, most of these have 3 wires behind them. So, you know, you are talking about a lot of wires, plus all of these, which typically have 3 or 6 wires. Then you have more wires here. So behind this panel, there's probably close to 60 wires. There are a ton of wires back here. And if I ever need to access them, I need to unscrew this, pull it all out, and you really don't know what you're looking at. So what I did was I went to Lowe's. I asked them if they had any returned cabinets that had been broken or damaged, something that might have been, you know, just a defective product, and they did. They actually had this cabinet that had a door right here, and it had a drawer above it. I took it home. I very carefully removed all the screws and all of the nails that held it in place, and it's basically staples, and I was able to remove this front panel. So this front panel now has a hinge on it, and if I unscrew this hinge, I can simply open this up, and I had cut out this wall behind here so I can expose all of the wires if I ever need to get back behind here and do any type of work at all. So that is really cool, and this upgrade took a little while because you want to make sure that you're not going to cut any wires back here whenever you cut the hole out. So I removed this entire wall panel assembly. I actually came out here one day and I just decided to knock it out. I should have recorded the whole process, but I didn't. That's a bad YouTube no-no, but I know I did it. I had to pull this piece back right here, pull the wall back, remove everything. You can see some of my nail holes here where I nailed it back in place, and then that piece down there actually broke, so I need to put that back in place. But yeah, I was able to cut a hole out right here, put this on top of it, relieve a lot of the pressure that is on the back of that wiring harness, because this spaces it out an additional inch. So it definitely takes some of the pressure off of the back of the wires. And now I have a screw right here. If I simply remove this screw, this swings open, and I have access to all of my wires back here. So, you know, I've thought about organizing everything in there and putting a really cool, like, marine style breaker panel back there, and I might end up doing that, but that'll be for a later video. But what do you guys think of this? Especially the color. Considering, you know, all of the grays and the other tones that are here, I think it blends really, really well. It doesn't match the cabinetry by a long stretch, but I think it looks really good. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on doing something like this? I mean, if you have an RV and you have a control panel and it's hard to get to everything there, now I have this huge opening. This is roughly 24 inches deep by about a foot wide, and it gives me a huge access panel to access any wiring issues I might have back there. And while I'm out here, we just got back from a trip and I just got all the slides extended again in the spot. I absolutely love having these 2 spots at the storage facility, and it's covered, which is really nice, but mainly because I can extend both slides and have room to come out here and move around the RV with, again, everything fully extended. But the point of today's video is to go over this really cool accessory that I purchased off of Amazon. This is a very awesome solution app for a lot of folks who might want to find out where heat may be coming into their RV. This is called a FLIR 1. It's a Gen 3 version of it as well, which is really cool. And if you're not familiar with the term FLIR, it simply stands for forward-looking infrared, and it's basically the ability for you to see the differences between hot and cold and the variances that may be taking place inside of an RV or at a wiring harness or through a wall. And one of the really cool pieces of technology baked into this is what they call their MSX, which is essentially their multispectral dynamic imaging. What it does is it actually embosses a visual image over a thermal image. So you have a better, kind of a crisper image to improve what you're seeing and to see specifically where, you know, spikes in heat might be occurring. And what you would use this for is essentially to see temperature variances or differences in different areas that you might be pointing your camera, such as your air conditioning, your walls, the roof, different areas that you may be wondering if there's a temperature variance, which can indicate if you have maybe a heat or air loss coming from your RV, lack of insulation in a certain area, things like that. And even will let you know if you have perhaps wires that are overheating because you have too much current going through them. So there are a lot of really great practical applications for something like this, whether it be in a home or an RV or even a car, to identify problematic areas or areas, again, with major temperature variances. Now, on the specific one I have, which is the FLIR 1, they make 2 other flavors. They make the Pro LT and the Pro, the difference being the thermal resolution, basically the image you're going to get, as well as some other features such as the battery life, if one has a battery, and if it has like image enhancement. But What you can see through this one is, well, first of all, I sprayed the floor recently with bug spray. I basically spray it anytime we're done camping, we get home. I spray it anytime the RV is going to be in storage, just because you don't want to get pesky little insects and things inside. But as I move it around the RV, you can definitely see the differences in areas of the RV where heat is penetrating in, or areas are hotter or cooler. Anytime you look at an air conditioning vent, it's going to show up in blue, indicating that it's a cooler area. But if you look at all these spikes, you can certainly tell where heat is getting into the RV, and there are areas around the windows, around the slides, and if I hadn't sprayed the floor, you'd even see it around the floor where heat is actually getting in or escaping. Yeah, and I plan on taking this out to RV dealerships as well as whenever we go camping to show you where there are hot spikes coming into the RV, where insulation may be less effective, and it can perhaps even identify areas that you may be able to reinforce with insulation to better cool your RV. Anyways, I plan on doing a lot with this. What do you guys think I could do with this FLIR device to demonstrate to you all maybe where areas could be improved? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, they make this device for both Android and iOS devices, so basically Android and Apple devices, and they make it for all the main popular type of charging ports at the bottom of the phones. I will put a link in the description of this video if this is something you might be interested in. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.